I wonder if you can leave the city in your guard uniform, and should we all on Saturday before we start go salute a guard and come in guard uniforms for the Saturday
Nice.
raid? Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 84. Tonight we find out how we did in this weekend's continuing raid of Antorus the Burning Throne. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Stafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Fire Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Night Elf Arms Warrior.
Epistle up north.
Where the land is now no longer white. Yes, I play Epistle, a Draenei Protection Paladin.
And unfortunately, we don't have a charity tonight, so she is on holiday, eh? Oh, no, wait. She's not Canadian.
Nope.
Maybe she's visiting here.
That could be, yeah. Yeah, who knows? It's nice up there from what I just heard.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be almost summer weather on Tuesday.
Almost summer? What's that? 30?
I'll translate it, but if anyone knows Fahrenheit, it's around 20.
Oh, okay.
That still sounds cold.
I was watching
It sounds
this program.
cold, but no, that's room temperature.
I was watching this program on TV, and they're like, oh my God, it's cold out here. It's like 20. And I'm like, what? Yeah, well.
Yeah, 20
no.
is 68 Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
by the way.
Well, no, it was Australian gold rush thing, and they were talking about how it was like in the 40s. That's what it was. It wasn't that it was cold; it was really hot. And I'm like, 40? 40 is not hot. Oh yeah, Celsius. Because they were saying it was like 106 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it gets ridiculously hot.
So how's everybody doing this week?
Good.
Not bad.
Doing well.
Recovering
Wow.
well. Healing
Enthusiasm.
well.
Listen to that energy we have.
Yeah, you guys must be going back to school.
Yeah. Going back to work on Monday.
I've been for a while.
Oh yeah, we've been back for about 2-3 weeks now.
I've just been enjoying the weather, doing some gardening, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Went for a bike ride.
What did you plant?
Tomatoes, mostly. Also green peppers, red peppers. Started some lettuce in the greenhouse and stuff as well. I'm not doing a whole lot of like greenhouse planting this year. I'm doing a lot of just gonna really hit it hard right in the for us the last frost date is like the second week of May is perfectly safe. We have such a short growth season here, and so I'm just gonna get a lot of seed in the ground directly right around that time period, and really go to town. But I like to get my tomatoes started ahead of time.
All right, so I have a question for you. Have you ever done sweet peas?
Oh yeah, we do sugar snap peas and regular
Okay,
peas.
yep, sugar snap peas, that's the ones I'm doing. Are they vine traveling? Do I have to build a trellis?
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay.
I mean, they will kind of bush up and stuff, but I usually like what I did. I went out to the woods and I just got a bunch of like kind of straight sticks that were about 3-4 feet long, and I just tied them together with some twine and made a little box trellis type of thing around them, and they grow right up it, no problem. And
Okay.
we'll get like two seasons of them.
Nice.
If you get them in the ground early enough, they'll grow. They'll produce a whole bunch of beans, and my kids love to snack on them and all that. And then the plants will die because they're determinate. And then if you yank them out and plant another one right away, you'll get some more beans by just before the frost.
Okay, can you seed them?
Can you what? Seed them?
Can you seed them?
That's how you plant
Let
them.
them go into... No.
Oh,
Let them go into seed.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I did that with my lettuce last year, so I have my own seeds from last year's lettuce. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
I'm I got them in between wet paper towels, and they're above the fridge right now. So they're, what do you call that? Germinating.
Yeah.
So they're germinating to sprout, and I'll go plant them.
Yeah, we get
Lions Pride Tavern listeners, we've moved into real life herbalism here.
yeah. I had a problem where I was going to grow like stuff to make pickles, and I planted some dill, and
Uh-oh.
and then
I
like
know where this is going.
yeah, and
Everywhere.
it bolted, and now I spend half my summer weeding dill out of all my garden beds. Actually,
I love arugula, and oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. No, I did cucumbers, and I added cucumbers this year, and the sweet peas. So I want to see how they do, because my carrots and onions are crap. It's got to be my soil. My carrots get about 2 inches long. They're really cute, but they're really tiny, and they'll grow that way all year. And the stalk, what's funny is the tops will get like 12 inches, 14 inches tall, and you pull it out, and it's like 3 inches long.
Aw.
you know,
It's
what's
like-
funny is
Lorelai, do you have a green thumb, Lorelai? I'm curious.
You know, I've tried growing things, but my house butts up to the back of a cemetery, so I've got every creature known to man.
Yeah.
And one year I was planting flowers, and the rabbits ate everything. So it's like it's a waste for me to plant anything because I'm just going to be feeding the neighbors.
Oh,
you know, I planted I put a bunch of sets of onions. I was going to try and grow some red onions last year. And I put all of these sets, probably like, I don't know, like 30 sets of onions in this one part of my garden. And they didn't do anything. And I was like, well, that was a bust. Maybe they didn't like the soil. So it thawed, right? And now I've got about 30 sets of onions growing up in that spot where they apparently just wanted to hang out for a year before they grew. So they're growing now. So I'm going to have some onions that I don't have to plant.
My
Nice.
nephew planted. He had like a little, around the deck railing, those little garden pots, and he did lettuce in those, and he let one of them go to seed, and didn't even think about it. And my dad this year goes, "Yeah, I got a bunch of lettuce growing in my lawn."
Oh, that's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the lettuce here, like we have like some pea stone pathways around our greenhouse and stuff, and some of the lettuce bolted and went to seed, and now we have to weed lettuce out of our pea stone path and from other places too.
What do they call
Nice.
those? Volunteers? I think volunteering is great, but not so much for plants.
Yeah.
Hey, so to get on with WoW, I do want to say
Oh,
that
yeah.
people that have gone to our Lions Pride Tavern Discord channel, we've had quite a few people just recently show up. I want to just name a couple that have shown up just in the last few days. Heximus joined us, and Teratus Militus. He listens to our show daily. He's a 950 disc priest. He actually tried to join us Sunday through charity, but at the time we didn't need any more healers, so I kind of turned him down. But if you're listening, I think she got your battle tag. So we'll be looking forward to bringing you in. We just got to make sure we have enough room for a priest. And then Advent Wolf, and there's one guy, he's got to be Russian because he's got some Canon U3HIO. I don't know, maybe it's 310. I can't read his name.
All right.
Joined us, and then Antorus. Now, Antorus, we are going to have on podcast next week.
Oh,
We are
wow.
going to
Cool,
have her
yes.
as a special guest. Her or him. I'm guessing her because it's Antorus. But they are a Horde raid team in the exact place where we're at, and they listen to our podcast. So they're going to come on and give us the Horde perspective side of raiding in Antorus. So that'll be
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
All
Yeah.
right.
So we'll be looking forward to her or him, whoever. I'm guessing her next weekend as our special guest.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll get their perspective on how they're doing, because they are literally in the exact same spot. They're working on the same same boss. We're working on Veramathras.
You mean
Or
Agrimar?
I'm sorry, Agrimar. Yeah, they're working on Agrimar, trying to get that down and get the whole dance going with that. But
Well, Veramathras does still work for us.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting better,
It
right?
is.
It is.
I think so.
Veramathras is, it's one of those fights where, everybody's got to execute perfectly, and as long as they do, we get through it just fine. But little simple mistake, and it's a quick wipe, and we got to start over.
Yes.
Miss Taunton gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that that's ever happened.
Right. Never.
That's the one button I haven't pushed because I don't keep it on my.
Well, we'll talk about that one here in a little bit.
That was good though.
That's coming up.
But let's get JobUI to start us off and tell us how we did.
Okay, this week we started off with me accidentally blinking into Argus and pulling the boss right away, and then we wiped it up really fast. And then we went back and we took him down. We still had someone drop the Soul Blight in the group again this week. Different person this week. This week, it was our former podcast member Tappuccino that was dropping it on us this week.
Not that we're saying who, but
Yeah.
No, I'm saying who. Because
it was funny in the chat, like it
No.
sort of going.
I'm so tired of people doing that. If we have to, I'll shout it to the clouds. To tell their names. It's you. You did it. But because we really got to get that cleaned up for heroic. That mistake can't happen in heroic. And we're getting close to that. So anyway, we killed Argus in normal. Went back. We did Guidotti, Fellhounds, ENR. Really clean ENR kill.
Cleanest yet?
Yeah, cleanest yet. We did Portal Keeper, High Command, Iminar. All of those were one shots. And then we did a single pull on Kingaroth, but it was pretty fast, and we didn't do very well. I think we got him down to like 20% or something like that. But we had a lot of people die early, and it was just sort of a downhill, ending to that, because it just kept getting worse and worse, and more ads, not enough people, etc. So we come back on Saturday, and we took down Kingaroth. It took 2 pulls. We divided up the teams based on trash, which isn't a very good way to divide up the DPS. Then I used those numbers to redivide the team, and then we just smoked him in the second attempt. It was really clean in the second attempt.
Before you go on, I just want to say how much I really, really hate the beam.
Yeah, you eat the beam a lot. I can see why you hate it.
I'm going to tell you what happened. So the first time I saw the beam, it's pointed right at me, and I went, oh, speed boost, and I ran to the right. It's a 50-50, right? Whether he goes right or left. And as soon as I took off running, he went to the right with me. And I ran right with the beam the whole time. I was like, God bless it. So the next time I died, I went, okay, fine, that's fine. I see the beam. I'm going left, and I went early, and it still got me.
Well, on the winning fight, you didn't eat the beam until
I didn't.
5 minutes and 38 seconds into the fight.
Yes.
We did have somebody eat the very first beam 30 seconds into the fight, which is no fun. But yeah, I mean, it's, I'd hate it too. I've been hit by the beam before. Luckily, I have like a blink. So if I manage to blink right away after getting hit by the beam, I can survive it, especially with my cauterize. But it's never any fun to get hit by the beam. So we took on Veramathras after that, and we had 3 wipes on Veramathras, followed by a really nice clean kill on our 4th attempt on Veramathras. And it was just, once again, people messing up here and there. Tanks took extra damage and died, or players didn't quite get their necrotic embrace far enough away, and that sort of thing. That'll get cleaned up. I think people will get better and better. All of our wipes were within 2 minutes of the start. They didn't last very long. And then our kill was only like 4 minutes and 38 seconds. So it was a really fast kill this week. We had some really, really high numbers on our DPS.
Now, I just want to say, because your add-on, you had modified it because they had changed the way something worked. I'll let you talk about that, but I want to say that I never got Necrotic Embrace, so I don't know if it actually worked, and I still haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, it does work now. For a little while there, weak auras, when you were setting up a weak aura for something like Necrotic Embrace or whatever, when you set the trigger for it, under the aura type, that you could set it for buff/debuff, which meant if it's a buff or a debuff, as long as it's called Necrotic Embrace, then it would trigger it. And I guess in a patch after that, I don't know exactly how long after that, in a patch they did away with that, and now it's either buff or debuff. But anything that was marked as buff/debuff just got switched to buff. So for like a week there, I didn't notice, and nobody else noticed, that it just wasn't working because it was looking for the buff Necrotic Embrace, which it is certainly not a buff. It is a debuff. So fix that. It is fixed. If you are going to our document that's on our Facebook page and you go to the weak auras in there and you import the weak aura, the current version that's up is the fixed version where it will work. I did get Necrotic Embrace and it is working. So there's that. But after we did Verimathras, we went on to Agrimar. And this is progression for us, pure progression for us. We have not gotten it down before as a group. We had 9 wipes on Agrimar this week. The CC, I had set up a map to help our CC people get more accustomed to which ad they need to go for, and I think that really worked out well. I heard from some of the CC people, and they said that it did. That it helped clear up which ad was theirs for them, which we basically divided it into like pie slices, kind of like if you look at it from a top view, it kind of looks like a Trivial Pursuit icon. It's like 60-degree pie slices, and each player is responsible for one of those. And we got progressively better as the night went on with that. Our second pull wasn't as good as our first, really. But our last pull was our best pull of the night, and we had made it all the way through the first ad phase and into the second, I guess, middle phase. I don't know what you would call that. Just where we're just attacking Agrimar, and then we took a huge amount of damage because I think one of the tanks died or something, and the boss turned around and slashed the whole raid. And
no, I think somebody, if I remember, taunted that shouldn't have done that.
Oh, no, I didn't taunt. I hit a good button, though.
Well, it certainly looked like a taunt.
Because I was like, I didn't know how that would have done. But no, I did not hit my taunt. I have my taunt button way away from wherever I'm going to touch it. But I didn't even understand how I did what I did.
Yeah.
Unless I was too far and in between the boss's legs and just a little bit too far up. But that was a good Blade Storm, man. I hit that Blade Storm button because I'd moved it. I was trying some new talents and some new attacks. And I moved my Blade Storm button, and my fingers just know where everything is. And I accidentally went and hit that button by mistake.
Yeah, actually, I think that was our second to last pull when that happened. Because the boss turned around and killed...
Everybody.
Not everybody. I survived it. I was the last one to die. Let's see here. It killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like 20 people, 15 people.
Hey, if you're gonna do it really, really
That's
well.
right.
Go big.
Yeah. Mommy Fortuna lived an extra 4 seconds after that happened. Aqua lived an extra 4 seconds. Spicy lasted a whole 8 seconds. And I lasted 10 seconds after that happened. So, yeah.
One of those great moments where everybody all at once is like, nah.
I was like, oh, we're doing really good. And then,
boom.
It was just like Lorelei said, we're all going to die.
The sound of disappointment in chat.
But in general, though, we are moving in the right direction on that fight. We need to make a few little changes. I think I suggested to the team that people bring along their more defensive-minded legendaries, things like healing legendaries. Things that like maybe will heal the player. I know there's like pants for shaman that if they stand in place, they'll get healed and stuff like that. The mages have like a chest thing that gives them a shield, and most of the classes I think have the neck that can produce a shield, if not all the classes. That there's some good defensive legendaries that are out there, and I'm sure there's some talents that people could go with as well in that fight, just to take the edge off the healers. That is a really damage intensive fight. I am also planning on running 1 extra heals on that fight. So there will be that as well. But yeah, I think we have a good chance next week, based on what I saw this week.
Yeah, I think so. I did like that diagram too, by the way. I think a visual cue like that's really helpful, and I love that we have a chat that allows us to put them right into the chat so that you can do it like on the fly and people can look at it. And you can even be looking at it as you're talking about it. It's just a really neat way to go.
Yeah, it is very handy.
Well, our favorite #1 author for our YouTube page, Lilith Alou, who also runs a raid that is going through and doing Agrimar, had a whole bunch to say, and it was very funny because it was everything JobUi talked about as we started to fight, and I'm thinking either JobUi read her post or is somehow mentally telepathy with Lilith Alou, because everything you said she wrote out, and I was like, wow, okay.
No, I did not see that post. There was just things that needed to be said that people needed to get in their head. Like the big one, like the little, unless you're CC, unless you're in charge of breaking the CC, which was just me. So if you're not me, you're not the tanks, and you're not assigned a CC, then don't touch the little ads. Don't look at them. Don't wink at them. Don't hit them with anything. Don't slow them.
Don't kill.
Yeah, just leave them alone. They don't exist. Kill the big ads. Go back to Agrimar. That's all you got to do. Dodge the stuff. You don't have to worry about them little guys. We'll take care of them. Because we still had some players like feeling like, oh, I gotta attack them in the first couple pulls, and so we had to reiterate that, and there was a few other things, here and there, but I think everybody really started to get it, and I think once they get used to the pattern of that fight, because that fight it's very predictable in how it's going to play out. It is not like a big RNG fight, other than it's random where the stuff is going to show up on the ground that you have to dodge, for the most part. But as long as players stay spread and so they don't blow each other up when they get the little flames on themselves, they just stay spread, dodge the big swirlies on the ground, don't get hit by the other flamey things. Basically, don't stand in the fire. Kill the big ads. Kill Agrimar. Stop killing Agrimar if we tell them to. Because you can push it. Like, if we're still taking care of the little ads and you take his health down below 40%, he's going to bring out more ads. And then that's just a wipe. So, yeah. But I thought everybody did good. I thought they did really well.
Yeah, I was enjoying the progression. I mean, we're getting there. It's I noticed you took me off CCing, which was great. Put me on backup CC, which I actually enjoyed. But I guess I missed the part where you said you were going around clockwise and you were starting with star. Because last week you had started with circle.
No, I started with skull last week, actually, and then
was it skull?
Well, last week I was having the skull one walk in first.
Oh, okay.
And then I was going clockwise from there, which circle was next on my circle that I had set up last week. They was not the same pattern last week as I set up this week.
Yeah, I know, because the first time you called for me, I go, I'm on my way, and I ran over to the right, and I'm like, oh, the diamond's on the left.
Yeah,
but I died going over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll be honest. I took you off CC because you die a lot. So I put you on backup. I figured then, you didn't have to worry about it and you could like focus on staying alive. And then if somebody else died, you could cover for them. And we have a lot of people who can CC in this group.
Yeah.
So we had an abundance of extra CCers available. And like I replaced you with Ant this week.
Yeah.
Because Ant had whispered me last week telling me that he's done this fight before and he's been responsible for CCing and he's used to it. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll put him in.
Yeah.
And
no, it worked out good. It's just I don't know what it is about the attraction to me, but when we say spread out, everybody spreads out right to me. I swear to God, I was sitting there and it was mainly, what was funny was it was mainly healers. I had both Tap and Charity run right over to me and stand by me as they go bling, bling, bling. And I'm going, I'm dying.
Yeah, I've actually been chased around by Charity a few times, Shepherd, while I'm out there. Like I'm moving around, I find a nice open spot where nobody's standing, and I go in there, stand there, and then she comes over and stands right next to me. I'm like, don't stand so, don't stand so close to me.
Yes. But no, I think we're doing really well. I mean, our prediction was a little off, but we're getting there. We got a lot further than we did last weekend by far.
Yeah, I think if we just get through the damage, and there's some changes I'm going to make in the way I bring the ads in, because I was kind of bringing them in almost right on top of each other. Like I was trying to let one expire and then have the next one hit real close afterwards. And I think next week what I'm going to do is I'm going to stagger them out a little bit more, not a lot more, but just give a few extra seconds between each one for the healers to play catch up on everybody's health before the next one starts in. And hopefully that'll help a little bit. Because we still have time. It's not, I mean, as long as the healers ultimately don't go out of mana, then we'll be okay. We do have to watch out, though. I mean, like on our best pull of the night, we had, what was it? Because I believe it's Flame Rend, the one where, what's the name of the one that, where
Flame Rend is when we stack together.
That's when we stack. Okay. What's the name of the one where we get
wave?
No, the one where we pulse and we do damage to each other. The Scorching Blaze, I believe, is or is it Unchecked Flame that goes across the room? I gotta look that up.
Sure, yeah, I have to look it up.
Yeah, because I mean, it looks to me like we're taking a lot of unnecessary damage during the fight. Like people are getting hit by things they can avoid. And, if we can get that cleaned up a little bit, where the unnecessary damage is far less than it is, then I think the healers will have an easier time keeping up. I think part of that is just, the panic, the freak out from, oh my gosh, this is new and it's intense, and I think once they get used to it, it'll be like, oh, okay, the little flamey thing's coming at me. I take 2 steps to the right. I'm good, kind of thing.
Well, now, who was it that was it Pucky that suggested not starting off right off the bat with just maxing all your damage out?
No, that was I think Formir that suggested that, and he was concerned
so we wouldn't
because
transition really quick.
No, it's because I had in the previous fight I had an ad marching in. And the boss went to his Flame Rend, his Rend attack thing where we all stack up. And the ad hit, which did a burst of damage, and we all got the debuff right away. And then he hit with his Rend right afterwards and killed most of the raid. And it was just bad timing. And so what I had to do is just pay attention to his energy as well when I was releasing ads and going, okay, is he getting close to doing the next Rend? If he is, I'll just wait on the next ad until the Rend is completed. Or actually what I did was I just targeted the next ad while we were in the middle of the Rend. and I hit the ad, so the ad would start marching in while we were taking the rends. And then after the rend was completed, the ad would get into the boss and hit him, so that they weren't right on top of each other and overlapping damage. That's a tricky thing too, for me to like be figuring out at the moment, is the timing of when to release those ads, so they don't stack up the debuff, and so they don't overlap with other big damage things that are coming in and all that. Because they're not only do I have to worry about, okay, well, there's this long left on the debuff, and I have to look at the ad and check its distance, like look at its distance between it and the boss, and mentally gauge based on how fast they move, how long it's going to take them to get to the boss, look and see whether or not we get on the flame rend coming, kind of thing. How's everybody's health looking? Oh, I have to dodge this mechanic. Oh, and I have to keep DPSing too. Yay! So it gets a little complicated.
That it does. Yeah, it's an intense fight. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I got a lot to think about in that fight.
But all right. Well, predictions for the next. Oh wait. Well, first of all, before we do predictions, what did we decide? I know we took a count on whether we need to do Agrimar on normal anymore. So what's the decision? Are we going to keep doing Agrimar right off the bat, or are we going to skip it?
Well, Collada's gone. Collada had 2 weeks left, and this week was going to finish one. We had one person who's going to finish it next week. You know, I did, Durag did mention to me he feels that we should keep doing it just to keep everybody sharp on the fight.
But we are so close. If we can get past Agrimar, we're moving on to it.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I don't think we need to do it anymore. I think we're okay. And some of the people who didn't have it all said that they could pug it on normal and go get their upgrade token, no problem. I mean, you can
because you cannot get it on LFR. That is correct.
Nope, doesn't show up on LFR, but it does show up on normal, and you can get in a pug group pretty easy with the item level that our team has. They should be able to get into a normal, no problem.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think we need to do it anymore, personally. At least because we're going to get there soon on heroic, and I think everybody is vastly familiar with that fight at this point. I mean, they've done it a bunch of times where it's just by rote now. Nobody's like, we're at the point where I mentioned it because people were just chit-chatting during the fight, and we've been trying to cut down on that, and I just said, hey, let's not get in the habit, even though this is a fight we're used to, kind of thing. Although I did get excited and mentioned that I hit my big ad for maximum damage.
Yeah, I know, and there were several people that...
They were like, chatter. Yeah, they were like, it was all bitter, like it was like dark chocolate. But I hit it for 23 million damage in a single hit, so I was pretty excited about that hit. But yeah. Anyway,
comments were made.
Yeah, they were. But so I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't think we should need to do it anymore until we get there on heroic.
I mean, I guess it would just depend if anybody needs it still, or if anybody coming in needs it.
Well, there was, one person that was 3 short, if I remember right?
Formir,
yeah.
But
he's
Spicy,
one that, yeah.
Spicy needs a couple. Formir needs a few.
But they were both like, we can totally pug it if we have to.
Well, there's one thing I was thinking about, because I was looking over my gear list and seeing what kind of gear I still need. And of course, I've been really fortunate on the rolls that things have been heroic or Titan Forged for me. There are a few things that drop that, there's a long shot that I could get better gear for it. So I haven't minded doing it because there is that benefit. Of course, if we can get onto heroic, we're going to do even more. The rolls can go even higher. So I'd prefer that as soon as we can. But, maybe there's benefit to some small degree to continue it for a bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of going both ways on that, because I agree we need to practice, but we're so close to getting there. But I'm not seeing that what did we get Agamar down to? 54% on that last poll?
38.
38%. Yeah, so we're close, but I don't think we're quite there yet. And I think if we keep pounding our heads on Agamar, I'm just trying to give us more time on it, because we literally had about 45 minutes on Agamar when we got there. Where if we don't do Argus on normal, we'd have even more time on Agamar.
At least
we might have an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, because we spend 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how fast people transition from normal to heroic, doing Agamar each week, or Argus each week.
I do think Agamar, though, is if we don't do it this week, we'll have it next week, because people are learning the mechanics now and they're getting more comfortable with them. And as soon as we do that, that's usually when we move forward. So it's almost like we just have to figure out the equation, figure out the configuration, and we're getting there. I think it's down soon.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think we've got more than like 1 or 2 more weeks on Agamar before we hit Argus and Heroic. And I honestly don't think we're going to struggle on Argus and Heroic. I think we'll have a couple of wipes where people go, wow, that's happening faster. And we'll say, yup, move faster. And then they'll move faster and we'll get right through it. Because there is so little difference between Heroic and normal on that fight. Mechanically, I think there's 2 changes, and that's it. And they're not even big changes. So...
And that's what usually slows our progression, that learning new mechanics.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should try it this upcoming week. Try skipping Argus.
Just go straight Heroic.
And just go straight to Heroic and see how it goes.
I think I don't see why not.
And then if it's still one of those things that because our raid composition from Friday to Saturday is different. So the Friday people aren't getting that Argus kill, and they're normally the ones that are getting it.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see how far we get starting off on a fresh without doing the normal as well. Because a lot of nights, it seems like a lot of weeks we either finish at if we have a rough night, we finish on Iminar. And if we have a clean night, we're finishing on getting done with Kingroth and maybe moving on to Baramathras.
Yeah.
But if we start just on Heroic, and that's after doing Argus, so right. If we start on Heroic, I think there's a good possibility we might even get a pull on Argus if we have a really clean night.
For Saturday.
Or not on Argus. I mean, pull on Agamar. On Friday.
On Friday, yeah.
Yeah, if we have a clean night with the other bosses, I could see us getting a pull on Agamar on Friday night.
Well, I think we should try it and see what happens. And if we can't get any further on Agamar, because we're going to have more time on Agamar, if we can't get any further on it and we just beat our heads against the wall the whole night, then I think we back up and go back to doing Argus on normal and then transition to Heroic.
All right. I will say that in my experience during the Agamar fight, the smoothest, now it could have just been composition and stuff, but the smoothest, easiest kill that I've had on Agamar so far in Heroic was a composition of 2-3-9. 2 tanks, 3 healers, 9 DPS. And that was the smoothest, easiest, cleanest kill that I've seen, just because the boss's health is not as high, the damage going out was not as bad, the healers seem to keep up really well, and I know we don't have a lot of control over that in our raid group. I'm just stating basically that It seems like the smaller the group, the easier that fight is.
So is there not? How do you do the CC in that? All 9. Because there's 6 CCs. Well, there's 5, I guess.
Yeah. Well, in that group, we had 5 people who could CC him, and we just had those, and 2 of them were healers. So we had a monk healer, and we had a druid healer, and the druid snared it with the root thingy that they do, and the monk hit it with that immobilizing purple beamy thing that they do. The Quaking Palm, I think is what it's called. And so 2 healers CC'd, and then 3 DPS CC'd, and the rest of them, they just went marching in. Or the other one went marching in, and we just did it. It was clean as a whistle. And I just was DPSing the whole time, which is great. I loved it. Just wasn't saying nothing.
You keep saying go marching in, and I think about one of our raiders being Ant, and I just keep hearing Ant keeps marching in.
Yeah.
Well, I do have some good news.
What's that?
Mommy Fortuna got her transmog from the Mage Tower.
Oh, hey.
Ooh, very good.
She's been struggling with swearing every night for the last week. Every night, just and then this morning she went, oh, yeah, it was scared the shit out of me.
I haven't gone in and tried that in a long time.
I tried once about a month ago and thought, I'm getting close, but I got other stuff I'm doing. Yeah, is it really pretty for the Pally? Am I going to regret this?
The Paladin? Yeah. Tank Paladin? It's the flail, dude. It's that awesome flail.
I flail enough when I'm tanking.
It's a cool weapon, man. There's the warriors have one, but it doesn't look half as cool. There are really, literally at this point only 2 flails in the whole game. One is the Pally one, and the other is the warrior one. And the Pally one looks awesome. I love it. I got it. And if I can do it with a Pally tank that I cobbled together, it's one of my alts, who I don't raid with this tank. I don't do dungeons with this tank really, except for occasionally. If I can do it, then you certainly can, because know Pally tanking inside and out.
I know I can, but yeah.
It's not that hard. You could do it.
Well, see, it was funny with Mommy because we were laying there. We were just kind of waking up this morning. And all of a sudden, she gets up. She goes over to her computer. She turns on the light. She fires up Warcraft. I'm like, so I just went downstairs. And next thing I hear her screaming. Pucky had said in Discord that if you're going to do it, there's a buff that was up on the island. I think it was the command center that would help you do the Mage Tower. So
for that one, yeah.
Yeah.
For the one she was doing was
doing.
Shaman, I think.
I think so.
Her shaman one?
I don't know. Yeah, she says yes. That was her shaman.
Right. And so hers got affected by that open world buff, I guess.
Yep. And so she was able to get that. So there you go. So it pays to know, or it pays to know somebody who knows when and how to do it. So, all right, guys, let's move on. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Remember last week's minute about the new subfamilies and strange new pets? Turns out it was all an April Fool's joke. Yes, Warcraft pets took us down the rabbit hole and had a little fun with us. Oh well, no flashy Fred for us. However, there have been new pets data mined from the alpha, and if you're tired of moths, Blizzard is adding butterflies. They look beautiful. We don't know yet what attacks they'll have, but I would imagine that they'll be similar to those of the moths. And they're really pretty too. The artwork of the new expansion is going to be amazing. There are a lot of pet models being data mined at the moment, and no one's sure which ones will make the cut or show up in future expansions. But be on the lookout for pigs, which seem to be showing up everywhere. Prairie dogs and turtles have gotten an update, as well as cats. Along with more portly humans in our new zones, cats will be cuddly, extra fluffy, and a little more pudgy than before. Pet battlers are still waiting eagerly to see if the golden retriever pet will show up, but there's been no definite news of if or when they'll make an appearance. Since there's not a lot of hard news on battle pets yet, word has come that hunter pets will also be getting an update. Blizzard class designer Solanas has revealed that they are moving past the idea of a tank or DPS specialization for hunter pets. All pets will be able to do both. Developers also plan to emphasize pet family uniqueness by adding a special ability to all pet families that were missing one. Exotic pets will keep their unique abilities as well as gain a new special ability. So keep watching and listening for more updates as they are made available. And keep on pet battling.
Next up,
Getting Themes with JobUI.
This week's theme is Be Flexible. We all want to just stand there and rack up huge numbers as DPS, but for the good of the team, it is important to be flexible. What I mean by that is sometimes you need to do other things besides what's going to give you the maximum DPS possible. It might be volunteering to handle a particular mechanic or task in an encounter that can be assigned to a player. It could be swapping out talents or legendary items to make it easier on the healers to keep you alive. You might be willing to switch to a healing spec and just not DPS at all when the team needs it. You could even find yourself helping out with making calls during a fight, or calling out certain mechanics when your raid leader has enough on his or her plate already. Put simply, being flexible makes you a more valuable raider. And let's face it, raiding is a team sport. Sure, having epic scale DPS numbers feels good, even great, but we win and lose as a team in raiding. So be flexible. Help your team when and where you can, and you'll still have plenty of opportunities to keep getting those deeps.
and our tank in a dress.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
This week's Come At Me a Tanking Minute. Call it. Or not. If you judge by looking for groups, tanks often have to be the raid leaders. It seems that they often step up and chat about how things are going to be done or how things are going to be handled, perhaps because if they leave, there's a very long wait. So they got a little room to kind of nudge things in their direction. But just because you're getting hit all the time doesn't mean that you're in charge. In our raid, it's been Stafford, JobUi, maybe others from time to time stepping in to lead. But it doesn't mean that as a tank, you have to. You definitely need to know your job, just like anyone else has to understand and be good at their role. But sometimes it's actually not a good idea. You may be the sort of person that might get really flustered about some things, or have trouble handling too many variables, and just need to work on your rotation to make sure you're minimizing the incoming damage. Some fights you get a little more overloaded than others. Say, for example, Vermathras is a tank. It's all about that perfect rotation. Small little motions, small little movements, misclicks, mistimings can lead to a total disaster. That would be a terrible time to try to be calling things out or trying to take the lead in a raid. What I appreciate about our team, and good teams that I think that there are in Warcraft, tends to have a lot more flexibility. This is a little like JobUi's segment there. But what we've done in running our raid, very often you have the one person calling the major shots, giving the directions, talking about the strat, setting up how we're going to handle different mechanics. But what I've noticed over time is that there's usually somebody who is, for some reason, a quick study at one of the mechanics. They get how to deal with something, or they know that incoming damage is coming, and they will call it out before anybody else does, just because for some reason they seem to be in that zone. And we tend to start to rely on them to do just that over time. I'm thinking about Kingaroth, for example. We've had one of our raiders regularly calling out Beam before he turns and zaps us. People have also called out different mechanics over the years, and that's been a really terrific thing. This week, we're having some trouble with Agrimar. JobUi's coordinating things brilliantly. Releasing the flame ads, though, is taking his time and attention. So what we're missing, we found, was that whole call for people to stack up. Now, for a tank, though, that suddenly becomes a really easy thing to do, because the tanks have to figure it out when he's about to do his four-step mechanic. We've talked about that in more detail at other times. When he's about to start that four-step mechanic, you really have to be on your game, and one of the tanks has to run through the group to, or rather through the mob, to where the group should be. And we have to figure out who's going to do it based on some other debuffs that are going on. But for the tanks to say, hey, everyone needs to stack just before we run, makes total sense. It's just part of the flow of what we're doing, and it's very easy to add that as part of our calling out. So as a team, that's one of those times we need to do that sort of call out. So sometimes you call it, or not. And that's come at me a taking minute.
Very nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I really appreciate you calling that, because I'd be clear across the platform and all of a sudden I'd hear stack up. It's like, oh no, hit the speed boost to get over that.
I do too, because I have no synapses left on that fight.
You're pretty overloaded.
What are you saying? We need 2 more JoBuis? Is that what you're saying?
Oh man, it's just, there's a lot. I'll get used to it, I think, but man, right now
there's a lot going on.
Well, and as I'm getting used to it, just like everybody else is, on calling it. I mean, because this is like, when I went and killed Agrimar, I didn't call it. So, I mean, I'm having to get used to stuff too. So, where people can take the load off of me on that fight, and I can focus on getting those ads coordinated and stuff like that, that every little bit will help. And calling out the stack, I mean, we wiped once because I usually call out the stack, but I was busy and didn't pay any attention.
Well, if you want me to call out a Vermathras, it's not happening.
No.
I've got this little window of existence. Like I've got 5 buttons and 4 cooldowns, and I'm not moving. I'm doing nothing but hit those buttons.
No, on Vermathras, I don't want you doing anything but paying attention to your rotation, because when your tanks do anything, I mean, if you guys sneeze, it's a wipe.
Yeah.
So, no, you guys got to stay on your game on that one.
No pressure.
All I have to do is run
we
left
hate
and right
that
and
fight.
occasionally blink out of the group, so, and that's only if I get the debuff. So,
Yeah, actually, if you hear Mummy Fortuna tell it, or look over the text that we're sending back and forth, Darg and I are just like, no, not again. 'Cause that one's a pretty stressful fight. We've got it down, but if one of us is having an off night,
yeah.
Yes. And we've seen that.
and it wasn't my night last night, but that's all I'll say.
But
All right.
it's a good thing especially when you have to do a stack, that if the tanks call it, because they're watching the timers, especially on when to do that.
Yeah, we're much more aware of that moment and the need for people to be together. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that other people started calling it. And all I had to say was, I mean, we got that wipe, and I was like, sorry, I missed that one. And other people just stepped right up and they said, yeah, you're kind of busy anyway. And then other people started calling it, and I was like, oh, that's a relief. That's one less thing for me to juggle.
Well, we don't have a splash into the heels, but we do have this. JoBuI!
Oh God.
Just for you, Charity. We love you.
Oh my God, Joe! I love
Next
that
up,
part.
we have... It's WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. Command Center is up at the Broken Shores with heavily augmented and Forces of the Order. And just for Lorelei, the weekly event is the pet battle bonus. I gave it away. Yay! Pet battle bonus event. Yay!
Do them every day.
WoW tokens 195 from 194 last week in the States, so not a big jump, but it's still up there. And what's really cool, I have never seen this little mini event. It's only for one day. It's called Volunteer Guard Day. If you go around,
I didn't do that last time. I need to do that one.
I saw it come up on the calendar. I was like, I don't remember if I've ever seen this one before.
I have.
It's just a one-day little single event. Yeah, just go up and
I've
salute
seen
your
it,
guard.
but never done it. I was like, I don't have time to go to
you
Stormwind
just go
today.
up and salute a guard. I don't know what he does, if he does anything.
I think you turn into a guard and you can just stand there.
Oh,
Wait, this is sounding less appealing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why it's only one day.
No,
It's
then
like,
you just wait for
not really exciting.
then you wait
someone to
just
come
for
and
some
salute
level
you.
1 to come up to you, and they're like, "Where do I get a haircut?"
Yeah.
All right, we'll go over there and make a left, and then run all the way to the end of that path, and you'll find some boats. Get on the boat.
Nice. Here, get on my bird, and what you do is I'll fly way up in the air.
Oh.
I had a guy do that to me. He goes, I'll give you, I think it was like 100 gold or 1,000 gold or something. And he flew me way up on top of this mountain. He dropped me off. He goes, now, if you can get down off this mountain without dying, I'll give you your 1,000 gold. I was like, all right. So I started jumping, and I jumped all the way down, and I got all the way down. He's like, oh, nobody else has been able to do it. And I said, where's my 1,000 gold? And off he went. So I'm still looking for him. Still looking for him.
I would have given
if you're
you
listening,
1,000 gold if I did that to you.
If
I know,
you're listening,
right?
Stafford never forgets.
That's right.
No. We'll find you, buddy, someday.
He has a particular set of skills, our Stafford.
Yes, I put my ear to the ground. Yeah, lovely. All right, so that's going to be it, guys. We're going to be a little short this week because Charity wasn't here to do her splash into the heels. That usually takes 10 minutes. Oh, just kidding.
Oh.
That 1 minute section, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the one little, the
I'll have
healing
to get her
minute.
some ointment for that burn.
Well, she'll be back next week.
Yep.
Teach her.
I will say that this week she had posted a thing asking like if you could say like what tattoo would you tell me to get if you could tell me what tattoo to get or whatever, you know, kind of thing.
That's
like,
right.
what tattoo?
Yeah.
And I told her Portal to Dalaran.
And she said, I'm not going to get that put on my butt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that would be extra hilarious.
Yeah.
And yet unfortunate.
Oh, the guard duty is you salute, you get a 24-hour buff that turns you into a guard, and you still have your weapon. During that time, you can be attacked by a city invader mob at any time, and they will scale to whatever your level is.
I wonder if you can leave the city in your guard uniform, and should we all on Saturday before we start go salute a guard and come in guard uniforms for the Saturday
Nice.
raid?
No, I do not want to see the whole raid in guard uniforms. I'm like,
Okay.
which one's me?
So I'm hearing
The Burning
everyone
Guard.
Everyone should do it, except for JoeBuoy then.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I like these little things.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't know if it would persist outside the city, but I mean, if it's just an hour, you know.
It would be kind of comical, though.
Yeah, the other half of the raid we would be normal.
You know, there is the, I don't know if you guys have it, there is the transmog set from WAD in our old garrisons that you could buy
Yes,
that
I have the
would make
majority
you
of
look like a guard, you know? Even if you
Yeah.
wear cloth, you still look like you're wearing plate.
Yeah, I've got a transmog set that I can do. But, you know, can I say on a personal note, I miss not having Sixth with us this last raid.
Oh, no
Oh.
summons? Yeah.
You're not the
no
only one.
summons. Oh,
Oh,
man.
the cookies?
Yes,
The running, the
the
no
lock
cookies.
cookies,
Yeah, the
the
utility
lock closets. Yes,
from that
we
is
miss
very,
you,
very nice.
sixes.
You don't know what you
Yeah,
got
we
till it's
didn't have any
gone.
cookies.
I actually, in one of the fights, I had to open my bag and click on a healing potion because I didn't have it on my toolbar. Like in the middle of a fight,
that's
I'm
how
like,
desperate
I
we're
need a
getting.
healing potion. Oh crap! I have to open my bag. Oh, and I have to click this thing. Sixes, where are you?
And you know what's funny is I don't even know which healing potion is the best anymore. I haven't used one in over a year.
They got
Oh
one
God, I
that's-
use them
they-
all the time.
They have one that does like 1,000,000 plus now.
Yeah,
Um,
the new one is pretty
yeah.
good. No, I don't have that on this tune.
I don't have any on me at the moment. I have like a stack of the ones that do 500k, but I don't have any of the bigger ones.
I'm not sure
No.
if tank potions really work, but those cookies are amazing because they do a percentage heal. So for tanks-
25%, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
can be a lifesaver.
Yes.
Like a
Quarter
wipe
of your health
saver.
back. Yeah. Definitely. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. I want to thank Charm for all of her beautiful music. And please go visit her website and her YouTube channel. The links are in the description below. Plus BenSound at bensound.com. And Vincent Moretto for our heavy metal tavern music. Guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. And we'll see you all next week.
Yep.
Thanks, folks.
See you.